Welcome to another edition of Turf Talk. Ed DeRosa here with Vance, looking ahead to 2015 with one last look back to the Eclipse Awards. Vance, it seems like we've been talking about them for months now. At least I have. Sort of one of my things on Twitter, Eclipse Awards Horses of the Year. It's finally over with. California Chrome won the gold. Not a lot of surprises, but a few. What surprised you about the Eclipse Awards?
The thing that always surprises me is when we get the tally sheet to determine who got how many votes.
Right.
And there's such a thing as rogue votes.
So-called rogue
So-called rogue votes. And quite a few stood out this year. Carpe Diem got 7 first place votes for juvenile male. Those 7 voters obviously didn't watch the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
No, I wouldn't think.
Older male, Game On Dude, God bless him, got 1 vote. In the older female category, we had Judy the Beauty, Io Tappa, and Beholder got a combined 27 votes.
Beholder.
Yeah. Male sprinter Secret Circle got 1 vote despite not winning a single race all year long. That's almost unprecedented. And then I completely understand how people love California Chrome, but he got 2 votes for Turf Male Champion over Main Sequence, over Wisedan.
Right.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm going to address those.
All right.
Some I agree with. I mean, Beholder, Secret Circle make no sense. California Chrome, I'll say this. The way I vote for Horse of the Year, which is you have to win an open race, obviously he, to me, is not a champion turf male. But if you felt he was Horse of the Year only beating 3-year-olds, why couldn't you feel he was champion turf male only beating 3-year-olds?
That's a very good question. I have no idea.
I mean, that would reverse engineering the votes. That would be my explanation. 2 you didn't mention were in the Horse of the Year category. 1 for Adelaide, which that seemed to really surprise people. I actually could make a case for that vote more than I could Take Charge Brandy.
Well,
it's Horse of the Year.
As Horse of the Year. Well, Adelaide, that would have been definitely unprecedented because I don't think any horse has ever won Horse of the Year with just 1 U.S. Stakes victory to his credit.
Although Andy Beyer tried with Rock of Gibraltar, who didn't even have the stakes win.
I don't remember that. I'll have to look that up in the archive.
Back in 2002, which was the year Valponi won the Classic, Azeri ended up being Horse of the Year. But Andy Beyer wrote this passionate Washington Post Daily Racing Form column saying, is a vote against the lack of quality, we should vote for Rock of Gibraltar, who was clearly the best horse to race in America that year, even though he didn't win the race. And he actually got a handful of votes, so Andy Beyer moved the dial.
I guess he did.
Yeah, he did. That was 13 years ago. The only category winner that surprised me was American Pharaoh. Not saying he didn't deserve it, but in terms of who I thought would win, that was the only one where I thought Texas Red would get it, and it ended up being the closest category.
It did, and I was on the other side of the equation. I thought American Pharaoh would sneak it out just based on that head-to-head matchup in the front runner stakes. I wasn't surprised that he did narrowly win that division, although it did turn out to be the closest vote. And you know, we go back to the rogue voters. Carpe Diem, Dortmund, Ocho Ocho Ocho, Hootenanny all got at least 24 votes combined. I mean, that obviously
would have been enough to tip.
Absolutely.
So, all right, well, that's the Eclipse Awards. I'm sure we'll gear that up again after the Triple Crown season. You never know what could happen throughout the year. But we'll be back later this week on location with On Point for the Holy Bull Stakes from Las Vegas. And I'll join Vance next week for another edition of Turf Talk. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure. Enjoy your time in Vegas.
Thank you.